Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back with another video, part 3, third and penultimate part of my goals, objectives, aims, dreams and whatnot for Italian football. As it's nearly Italy's unification day on the 17th of March, I thought symbolically it would be pretty cool if Italian teams sort of united when they play in European and international competitions, but probably another one of my naive pipe dreams. But anyway, can't think of much to say for intro, except for I should be in a very cheery mood because all 4 Italian teams that played today, Fiorentina, Atalanta, AC Milan and Roma, all won their respective games overall over the 2 legs. I mean, Roma lost on the day but won over the 2 legs, and AC Milan won quite convincingly as well. Atalanta had to come from behind, but sometimes that makes it even sweeter when it's quite close and they have to come, and if you have to come from behind and you're struggling and stuff like that. And what was the other team? I completely forgot. Tina, I can't remember what their score was, but I think that was quite a close game. It was like by goal, sorry, big point. But I mean, I'm not celebrating too much because they haven't won a trophy yet. And last season, 3 Italian teams got to the final. I would expect at least one, not at least, if at least one, or preferably 2 or even 3, to win those events. But I hope that Roma can go all the way, and or at least AC Milan or Atalanta, any of those teams would be great, and Fiorentina in their competition, the competition they're in, and I hope it'll be an all-Italian final. One thing I wanted to ask, actually, is a bit of trivia. Maybe I could have waited till the end of the video, but I just wanted to ask, I thought this would be quite interesting to find out. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in part 2, but it's hard to have an updated Google list, which is not too long to read. But I wonder which league. I think it's La Liga, which is the most successful. It could be the EPL in terms of European trophies that have been won, European or international trophies. Back in the day, it used to be Italian football, but I'd love to know how many trophies La Liga teams have won between them, EPL teams and Serie A and other teams like La Liga and Bundesliga and whatnot. It would be even like Scottish teams and whatnot, because it'd be interesting, like if there was a league table of all the different or so many different nations and how many European trophies they've won. So it'd be interesting. Unfortunately, Italy's probably a bit behind on that list, but and I often fear like about the end of the world. Like I imagine for some reason that the world will end in like 2030. I don't know why, but I hope Italian teams can become the most successful by then. I know it's a sort of first world problem. But anyway, on to the list of ideas, points, thoughts, or plans or goals, number 21 to 30. Again, I hope you enjoy it. And here goes. So number 21. When I made part 1, point number 1, I did sort of mention how I was sort of a bit conflicted, because one thought I had was like getting the worst out of the way, because the number 1 reminds me of getting the worst out of the way. It sort of rhymes with worse, and I like to get that out of the way and save the best till last. So I thought, what if I got the worst sort of things out of the way, like my worst fears? Maybe I could talk about a nightmare version, like so Italian team's not doing so well or whatnot. Although I've kind of covered that in this video, perhaps in a way. But another thing I was thinking like is 1 could be about coming together, like as it's Italy's unification day. It could be about all the those from Italy and from the diaspora, and those basically of Italian descent and well, basically from the diaspora, same thing, and also migrants, how they could come together. And there were probably 1 or 2 others that I was thinking of, 1 or 2 other ideas. But another thing was about, for instance, about Italian teams becoming the most successful, becoming the number 1. But I wondered whether I should save that till later, because I thought getting the worst ideas out of the way, like maybe Italian teams never becoming number 1. I know it's a first world problem, but I'll say. But so yeah, I had quite a few different ideas. Another thing is, as I say, 21 again. I would love to. I've actually been to Italy twice, but the first time I didn't have much to do with football. I did get to play football once on the beach, but that was about it for a short time. And the second time I went to watch a football match. But in the future, I'd love to go, like to be involved. So sorry, my stomach's probably, I don't know if you could hear that, to be involved in coaching and sharing my ideas and philosophies. And I'd love to go with Eurasians, especially Anglo-Indians and other Eurasian groups as well. And hopefully that can cement a unity amongst Eurasians, and we can show what we can contribute to Italian football. And also, sometimes separately and sometimes with Eurasians as well. I'd love to go with neurodiverse people to share our ideas with Italian football and how we could benefit Italian football. And sometimes possibly bringing both those groups together, neurodiverse people and Eurasians, which I put in speech marks for some reason. But yeah, also in the past, talking about 21 again, Italian football used to be the best, used to be the most successful in the 90s. I suppose English teams weren't too far behind, but I think back then Spanish teams weren't quite as successful. I know the Real Madrid and Barcelona have always been quite successful, but they were like the only teams that did well. And I think since then, like Villarreal, Sevilla, and other Spanish teams have done well. So they've gone quite far ahead, but it used to be between Italian and English teams. I suppose at the moment it's between Spanish and English teams, and I hope Italian football can get back to those glory days. And I think that would require some investment. I'd love to see like a campaign like hashtag make Italian football great again. I hope it'll be at club and country level. Number 22, on that note, as I said before, I'd love to see what Italian football can do to improve, and I suppose that require changes, bring in new coaches, new ideas, a more attacking philosophy perhaps. I think the most successful teams are probably a lot of times the teams that get stuck in, but also the teams that attack other teams. Number 23, once again, I think it requires a lot of investment to bring in those great managers, coaches, players, directors of football, dietitians, and whatever it takes to build a great football team, or great football teams, because I'd love to see Italian teams generally do well in European competitions. I hope that Italian teams will win a couple of trophies this season, the Europa League and the Conference League. Unfortunately, we can't win the Champions League because all the Italian teams have been knocked out of that one. But yeah, I hope they don't just get to the final. I hope they can. Well, I hope they get to the final, but I hope they go out to win it. And also, if the Europa League had an all-Italian final, I think that would be pretty cool. It would mean that it's a good chance that Italian teams would be catching up with Spanish and English teams. I think it'd be more. It would give more confidence. It would also make me feel more confident in the final, because it would mean a guaranteed Italian team was going to win, which for me would be cool. And I've got to celebrate those victories because they don't come along very often. So if Italian teams do win trophies, I think I've got to celebrate them. Although I'd celebrate a lot more if and when Italian teams won the most trophies. But yeah, I hope Roma can win, and Italian teams generally can win as many trophies as possible. And I hope investors are encouraged to invest in Italian football. And maybe that's one thing Eurasians and neurodiverse people can do, which is show what we can do to help Italian football, to fundraise and donate to Italian football. Also, with our creative ideas, come up with ideas for fundraising and working with FIFA and UEFA. For instance, I think it'd be cool if fans could donate to their local club and things like Italian football fans. So again, instead of hooliganism, law breaking, and things like that, they will donate to their local club and benefit their local club, and possibly help with coaching and see how they can benefit their club, rather than giving their club fines and possible punishments, fines and other punishments like getting them banned or things like that. Anyway, I hope that all makes sense. Number 24, once again, I think it'd be cool if the whole of Italy, all the citizens within Italy, and even those from the diaspora, and basically anyone of Italian descent, and also those who come to migrate to Italy. Maybe one of the conditions is they could show what they could do to benefit Italian football and how they're going to get behind the teams and stuff like that. So that could be how they could integrate. And I think that'd be a cool way to unite together. As I say, I think that would be quite symbolic of Italy's unification, Italians coming together and I think making their cities proud of their football teams, so winning things, and if like police and other people in Italy, even including, I'd say, the police and all that, worked with the local community and talked about being proud of their football team together, I think that'd be pretty cool. Number 25, on that note, I'd love to know any ways Italian football can entice that investment. Number 26, I would love for Italian football to fundraise and give back to countries that they colonized, like parts of the empire, including Roma. I was thinking about making a video about Roma, and point number 26, I was thinking could be about how Roma could give back to parts of the Roman Empire, like helping people in Ethiopia, helping Ethiopian entrepreneurs, helping Ethiopians to improve their economy, and maybe even, funny enough, helping Ethiopians to unite, and showing what benefits can come from uniting and working together. And also countries like Tunisia, which Italy tried to invade quite a few times, Eritrea and places like that as well. So helping the entrepreneurs and helping their economies to grow, especially at the moment in Ethiopia. There's a lot of problems. So I think it would be good if like they used football to fundraise for reparations and things like that. As someone who has mad ideas and is an anti-imperialist, but also a fan of Italian football. Number 27. Also, I'd love to have a list of honours and acknowledgement, award ceremonies and rewards, just generally giving out acknowledgements on websites and on YouTube of those who have contributed to Italian football. I suppose there already is like an Italian football Hall of Fame. I think they could also borrow an idea from Hollywood and have a Walk of Fame, and I would say acknowledge those who have invested in Italian football and coached young players, and basically done whatever to benefit Italian football. Mourinho, I think, could be one on that list. I know it didn't end so well for him with Roma, but he did help Roma to get to not one but two finals and win one of them. So I think he should be on that list. He also helped Inter to win a trophy in 2010, which was the Champions League, which is pretty much the biggest trophy you could win, and the World Club Cup, which is arguably the biggest trophy you could win. So at least one of those. So those are the top two trophies a club team can win. So I think he should be honoured and acknowledged for that. And maybe that could entice people like Pep Guardiola to want to manage. Come on, Pep, it's the only place you haven't managed. He's managed in Spain, Germany and England. So I hope I can convince him, or I should say, please, come on, Pep. But I hope all the top managers in the world will come to Serie A again. I was thinking about the past. It would have been pretty cool to see people like Alex Ferguson, Arsene Wenger, and others managing in Serie A. So I hope the future Arsene Wenger's and however you pronounce his name, and Alex Ferguson and people like that will manage in Italy, and also some of the best coaches, as I say, dietitians, directors of football, players, obviously, and that kind of thing. Maybe Mbappe and Haaland could be enticed to come to Serie A if the money's right. So I hope that Serie A will get a lot of investment from Arabian investors and others. Number 28. There was a point I was going to make, but I completely forgot it. But I hope Italian football can. I know I mentioned like tackle violence, tackle hooliganism, encourage people to obey the law, tackle divisions, unite together behind each other when they're playing non-Italian teams, and that kind of thing. And again, I'm regretting forgetting my point. I'm stuttering on my words. I feel like I've got Tourette's at the moment, but so please forgive me for that. But yeah, moving on that note, number 29. Once again, I'd love to see what Eurasians and neurodiverse people can contribute to helping Italian football hopefully become the number one again, to get back to its glory days. And I'd love for there to be a campaign, as I say, to hashtag please make Italian football great again. And number 30, I suppose I support Italian football, as I say, with a bias, although I know they're not the most ethical, but I still think they're pretty cool, and like I find the kits really cool, I find the names of teams really cool, and I supported them ever since I was young. So and that kind of thing. So I hope I can convince my fellow Anglo-Indians and other Eurasians and neurodiverse people to support Italian football, and also on that note promote Italian football across Africa, Asia and elsewhere. And hopefully any points I've forgotten I'll remember and mention in part 4. So I hope you look out for that, and I'm out. Peace and love.